Light as a feather, stiff as a board. So I went ahead and built Witchcrafter, especially now that they are a little bit more cheaper to make, especially with the new Megatins and everything. And yeah, it was just a deck that I've always been interested in, but like I said, I never got to able to get all the cards because they came out Infinity Chasers. Obviously, we did the Evil Eye deck profile. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, there's now another Infinity Chasers deck profile we can do as well. Let's go ahead and get started. So, with the Witchcrafters, we start with triple Witchcrafter Jenny. Usually you're going to go into her or the next card that we talk about. But all the kind of baby Witchcrafters have the same effect that you contribute it, and you discard spell, you summon a Witchcrafter from the deck immediately. And usually you want to go into the big ones, or the bigger ones, because they have more control-y effects and stuff. But her effects also is if she's in the graveyard, you can banish it with a spell, and then her effect becomes that spell effect. So you can kind of copy whatever you need in the graveyard, especially if it's like late game. You kind of want to, end the game stuff. And then for the next card, we played 3 Witchcrafter Shamita, I guess. I don't know how you say it. But yeah, she's probably the more important one because she, obviously, like I said, she has that effect where you tribute her, you discard spell, summon a Witchcraft from the deck. And then her second effect is the really good effect because you can banish her and you send a Witchcrafter card from your deck to the graveyard. You can send whatever, either be it a monster, if you already have like a holiday in your hand, or a spell. That way you just leave it there, and then in phase you get to search it. So it's kind of like another way to search, So yeah, that's why she's really good. You gotta play 3 of her. For the next normal summon of the deck, I played double Pittori. I only played 2 of her just because, like I said, she just has that effect to summon from the deck. But other than that, her second effect to draw is cool, but that's as long as you have other Witchcrafter cards in your hand. That way you don't banish your entire hand. So you just want to be careful when you use her effect. Yeah, that's just really it. Just a little bit more draw power, just kind of if you have to extend or something. Alright, now on to the Witchcrafter boss monsters. We play 1 Edo, I'm just going to spread them out here, 1 Hane, 1 Madame Vere, and then 1 Golem Maruru. Edel, I like her just because she has like a dual effect. First effect is you could discard spell, you special summon another Witchcrafter from the hand, so that way you can apply more pressure on the board. And then 2, you tribute her and you target spellcaster in the grave and you get something back out. So she's kind of like the Witchcrafter Unveiling we play, and also like a holiday. So that's kind of what I like, compare her effects to. So she's really cool. She has that double effect, and you can use each effect once per turn. So it's not a hard once per turn like, let's say, the BA cards. We have to pick one or the other. So she's really cool for that reason. 1 Hane, she can protect your other Witchcrafter monsters from being targeted by card effects, or actually not even Witchcrafter monsters, spellcaster monsters. And her other effect is you discard spell, target a face-up card your opponent controls, and destroy it. Madame Vere, she's cool because her first effect, she can protect your monsters from battle, because she could, if you discard, you reveal a number of spells during damage calc, and whatever monster you use that for, you can, they gain 1,000 attack and defense for it. And her second effect is more broken. You discard spell and you make your opponent's monsters negate their effects, whatever they currently control. So if like they're at that point where you want to stop their effects, you discard spell, and that way you can negate whatever's on the board. And then Ruru is just more of that like annoying monster you want to get around, or like you keep summoning out and like it just kind of protects itself. So whenever your monster gets targeted for attack, or they target a card you control, you could either target that card or target a spell in your grave. You summon her, and then you get to add that card back to the hand. So you could either get that spell back, or you bounce that monster back. So she's good removal, especially if they can be destroyed by card effects. Does target, but sucks. But anyway, yeah, she's just really annoying. And then she, once per turn during the your opponent's standby phase, she goes back to the hand, so that way you can keep recurring her and things like that. And that's why she like dodges stuff, and that way she doesn't end up in the grave and things like that. So that's why we play her. And now onto the other monsters in the deck. We play triple effect Veiler. The one reason why we play Veiler is because, one, obviously it's a hand trap. Two, you use her for like the Celine combo. When making this deck profile, I've watched a lot of videos to see what is some of the most optimal plays to make with this deck. And one thing you do is you go into the Celine, or you summon, you know, the Halki Fibrax, you summon Effect Veiler, or whatever tuner from the deck. It would be Veiler at this point, and then you summon the Celine. And as long as you have spells in the grave, you can summon back the Spellcaster, and then Veiler the Spellcaster, or whatever other Witchcrafter you have in the grave at that point. And then you would just go into Access Go Talker, especially if you need to push for game and things like that. So you can start, you know, popping cards and hopefully killing your opponent at that point. But yeah, that's really why I play Effect Veiler, and then even if you do draw it, just a good hand trap. Now for the last monster, this is kind of more of like a last minute throw in, just because, like I said, if there are those times where you do need to apply pressure, and things like that, I do play the one Prinkertops, just because you're not going to have too many monsters out on the field. You're not going to swarm the deck too much, unless you have a godly hand. But but usually going to have like 1 or 2 monsters out at a time. And obviously, compared to most decks nowadays, they just swarm the board. So Prinkertops is just a good card just to, if you need to out something, or you need to, like I said, just apply pressure, you can just bring them out pretty easily and either pop a card or just have them out there as a beat stick. So that's why I just decided to add in the one Prinkertops. And now, onto the spells. So for the spells, not a lot of spells per se, but especially Witchcrafter spells, I just play the really generic ones. Play 3 Witchcrafter creations. So with the Witchcrafter spells, they all have this effect. They all have a first effect, and then they all have a second effect. All the second effects are the same. So the second effect is basically if you have not used the first effect of that card that turn, you can add it back to your hand from the graveyard. So basically, like if you have it in your hand, if you discard it with like the Witchcrafter monsters to summon from the deck or whatever it may be, you can add it back during your end phase. So that way you have it up for a following turn, and that way you also have fodder for, let's say, your big, you know, Witchcrafter boss monsters, whether it be Madame Vere or the Hane, so you can have those spells to discard, so that way you can pop your opponent's monsters and all that stuff. But the first effect of creation is really good because she basically is a Rhoda. She adds a Witchcrafter monster from your deck to your hand. Yeah, just really good. So you gotta play 3 of, because you can search whatever monster you need. For the next card, we play Triple Holiday. So the Triple Holiday, it's like a monster reborn. You target Witchcrafter in your graveyard, spell summon it. Then the second effect is if it's in the grave and you hadn't activated one that turn, basically you get to add it to your hand during the end phase. Then for the next 3 of, we played 3 Unveiling. Special summon them Witchcrafter from your hand, so in case you have kind of a cloggy hand, you use this to get them out. But the other cool part about it is that your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your Spellcaster monster's effects for the rest of the turn. So let's say you summon one of the bigger ones. Let's say you summon Hane. You can bring her out. You have another spell. You discard it. And you get pop something and they can't respond to it. So that's pretty cool. Then her other effect, she has the same thing. If you haven't used the effect of it and it's in the graveyard, you get to add it back to your hand. So yeah, just a really good card. And then for the last Witchcrafter spell we play, I just play 1 Buy Street. It's just more out there just in case you need to protect your Witchcrafter stuff from battle by card effects. And also the other thing is if, let's say, you know, with the Witchcrafters you have to discard a spell to add or to activate effects, you can use this as a substitute for it instead. And then Buy Street also has the other effect, where if you haven't used one that turn, or you haven't used the effect that turn, you get to add it back from your graveyard. You actually don't add it back to your hand, you actually put it back in your spell and trap zone, so that way you just always have that recursion. And now, onto the generic spells. Obviously with this deck, you don't rely too much on the extra deck. So we play Triple Pot of Extravagance, as long as you don't get rid of your Celines or your Axico Talker, if you're able to go into those plays. Pot of Extravagance is really good, just basically a free draw 2. And then for the next spell that we played 3 of, I don't know how, but apparently I had 3 of these, and I know they're mismatched, but it's okay. But we played 3 Fool's Barrel Goods just because you can send whatever spell you want to the grave. I said that way you get stuff back. Yeah, it's just really good. You just want to get your spells in the grave, your Witchcrafter spells in the grave. For the 1-ofs, I just thought of some power spells that you could play. 1 instant fusion for the 1000 Eyes Restrict. Regeki, just if your monster or your opponent has that big board, just to get rid of all their stuff. Monster Reborn, just to extend. And then just 1 mind control, just because I said it's a spell. In case you can't take control of one of their monsters or something, or you can't use a spell or something, you can use it for discard fodder. And yeah, just a really good card just to, you can also use for link material and things like that. So that's why we play the mind control. Alright guys, now to the last cards of the deck. For the last cards, we play 4 traps. I don't have the Witchcrafter Patronus, but I would play 2 of it. I did have that card. It's a really good card. You get to basically kind of recycle your Witchcrafter monsters and your spells and things like that. So we don't have that card, so in the meantime, I am playing Triple Crackdown, kind of more like what the mind control's for, you know, just to, you know, try and get rid of your opponent's presence and things like that. That way, you know, you take away their monsters, and then you can use it for your own stuff if you need to. And then kind of because we play the Crackdown, and if your opponent's trying to get rid of the Crackdown, that way they get their monster back, or they don't want you to use it. I play 1 Waking the Dragon. This is just kind of a bluff, one of those bluff cards you can play. And there's, you know, obviously some extra deck monsters you can play. One that I didn't even know you could play, that's a new card that came out in the Megatons that everybody's very familiar with. But we'll get into that once we get to the extra deck. But yeah, 1 Waking the Dragon, just kind of more of a bluff card, because if they see you're playing Crackdown, they're gonna want to. If they see you set something, they're gonna want to get rid of it before they, before you use it to get rid of their stuff. So they'll try to get rid of it, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, free monster. So that's why I play the 1 Waking the Dragon. And now on to the extra deck. For the first links we play, I play 1 Link Kuriboh just because we play the Jenny, and let's say if you can't use her effect or something, you have some kind of defense. And then also for the Anima 2, 1 level 1 monster. Let's say if your opponent does have like something pointing towards you and you need to get rid of it, you could always summon the Anima and you can get rid of their monster, even if it's in the actual monster zone stuff. So that's why it's really cool. And like I said, just for the level 1s. For the Link 2s, 1 Halki Firebrass, because like I said, this is for that Celine play and the Access Code Talker play. Yeah, just Needle Fiber. What more can we say about that card? And for other links, I play some generic stuff. We play 1 Phoenix, 1 Knight, 1 Cerberus, 1 Unicorn. So if you can take some of your opponent's monsters with Crackdown or Mind Control, you can use it to link up into this. And like I said, there's just generic removal you can play for the deck, especially because we're playing Pot of Extravagance, so you just kind of need all that stuff. And for the last ones, we played double Celine. I only have 2, so that's why I play 2. But if you have 3, if you want to really max out on her, you can if you like. But I don't think you'll miss it unless you somehow hit it with Pot of Extravagance. Yeah, just 2, just in case you do. And she's just a really good card to have. For the last link, obviously, like we were saying, the Access Code Talker plays, because it's really easy to go into Access Code Talker. If you don't have this, you could always, like maybe a more budget-friendly one would be Topologic or Boros, if you like. And yeah, so Access Code Talker is there. And then for your Waking the Dragon targets, 1 Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, because it's annoying. 1 Naturia Beast, because why not, if you need to get spells. 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon to negate monster effects. 1000 Restrict, this is more for the instant fusion. Or we use this for the instant fusion, and then you can link Kuriboh and all that stuff. And then for the last 2 monsters we play for the Waking the Dragon targets, we play 1 Invoked Mechaba, just to negate anything. And then since you're going to have a lot of spells and monsters in your hand, you can use Invoke Mechaba. You're going to usually use Mechaba for monster or spell effects. So that's why you play them. And for the last card, we play 1 Red Eyes Dark Dragoons, because it doesn't have to be fusion summon, and you can summon it off of Awakened Dragons. You won't get the effect where you get to pop stuff, but it still can be targeted, still can be destroyed by card effects, and can still negate stuff. So that's why you play the 1 of. If you don't have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, you could play another Awakened Dragon target, like maybe something more like that you want to use for the offense, like maybe Boral Sword at that point if you like, or just whatever other, maybe like some kind of Blink monster or something that can get rid of stuff. But yeah, I just decided, just since I have one, might as well put it in the deck. But that is it for the deck profile, you guys. Let us know down in the comments what you think about the Witchcrafter deck profile. What spicy text do you play in your Witchcrafter deck profile? If you're interested in building this deck, make sure you check out TCG Player affiliate link to buy any of these cards. Check our social medias for updates for whenever we post new videos or even any IG live openings, things like that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.